Hello, my fellow risers. So, or my fellow Erises. Hello, Eris. So I had a thought today it's important. It's kind of major actually. And it's that unconsciously, I may have indeed been I may have in the past tried to hurt people. Or even tried to manipulated Zoe. I may have been honest in order to avoid sort of guilt, whether that be feeling guilty or being condemned as guilty. So I was honest for that reason, and I said all the right things in order. I was awesome in order to because I wanted to keep her around. Whereas in the past. So that's just a possibility. The alternative is that, of course, I did enjoy being friends with her, but I didn't want her to be hurt, so I was honest with her, and I was also, I would say, should we take time and so on, but I did enjoy spending time with her, and so when she said,
no, I want to keep spending time together,
even including having sex, whatever, I was happy with that. I mean, both of those are pretty coherent narratives. I certainly prefer the second one, but I wouldn't have even 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have even been able to really entertain the latter. I was constantly entertaining it, but feeling sick to my stomach. And so this is the first time that I can say that without wanting to sort of throw up. Seriously consider the possibility that my unconscious wanted to hurt or manipulate. And I don't feel sick about that. I don't want to tell you why. And it relates to a big thing that I've been thinking about today, which is the Chauvin trial and the silliness of feeling like there's any sort of justice, or that even justice matters, or is important, but feeling like it's any sort of accomplishment.
I'm starting to get numb to seeing it. It's getting tough to witness, but I guess the silver lining in the world seeing it is it can finally lead to some justice. Speaking of justice, are we gonna celebrate afterwards with pepperoni pizza? Celebrating what? Nobody won here. This is just one trial, and the only reason it made it this far is because of video. You're right. So pepperoni on half?
And I'm going to make a video about Chauvin around his sentencing. Everybody follows their instincts. Nobody keeps their instincts in check, and our instincts are what drive our behavior. So we're all just these instinctual creatures, rocks falling down a hillside, bumping into things, breaking things, knocking things over, whatever, and just thinking, hey, this is right, because this feels right. We're exerting no force on our behavior, really. So that's all of us. And the instincts that I think drove Chauvin to murder George Floyd were instincts that pretty much all of us have, and especially cops, to control a situation, to prioritize your life over the life of a suspected whatever. And also, race, of course, played a part in it. We all have an instinct to prioritize the life of a white person over a black person. We all, not all, because yes, there are lots of black people that would prioritize the life of a black person, and there are even white people who threw a sort of white guilt. But most of us, sort of instinctively, and you might not be aware of it, but that's just because you're an ignorant shithead, most of us don't value a black, for instance, and many other categories, handicapped, other races, poor people, whatever. We don't value their lives as much as is reasonable. And so these are things that we all have, these things that led to Chauvin's actions. And we're sending him to prison and completely ignoring the actual issue. We've created this monster in our minds, this evil.
You know who doesn't have a point? Chauvin's lawyer. I was waiting for him to say Chauvin was possessed by the devil. Now that, I might have believed. Would that have changed your vote? Oh, no. It would just explain the evil look on his face in the video.
Evil doesn't really exist. We're just rocks falling down a hillside. One of the officers, Officer King, is this black officer who had talked about joining the force in order to fix it from the inside. And it was his third shift as a full officer. And this guy's going to prison because he held his, he had his hand or his foot. I guess that does make a difference, but he had something on George Floyd's back to control the situation. But that's a totally normal instinct. What your bosses are doing, you do it. Have you ever heard of the Stanley Miller? Stanley Miller? Fuck. Whatever. experiment, with the electric shock experiment. It's a natural instinct. Don't act like you're above it. Don't act like you're so much better than that. No. I've lost you there. You're not going to believe me on that. Because everybody thinks that they would sort of do the right thing. Because consciously you may know what the right thing is, and sitting in your armchair you can say that you would do the right thing. And I'm sure you've been in situations, I've been in situations where I have done the right thing, and it's wonderful. And yeah, I'm even gonna say that I wouldn't have done what King did. Okay, I am also gonna say it. So here we all are, these amazing human beings that don't have the same basic instincts as, like, you know, whatever. I don't know how to finish that sentence, but it's wrong. King is not racist. And so what happens is, when you vilify someone who commits an atrocity like this, atrocity is a little bit harsh. It's one life and a blood. I bet I just edited out my joke. When you vilify someone, what you're telling everybody is,
yeah, that person was evil. That person did that thing. That person was evil. And here we are, all our YouTube comments saying how evil they are because we're all angels, and that person is evil. And now that person, we have put that person in prison. Wonderful.
But that person, that action only happened because of the situation. You put in any other human, pretty much 30% of humans, let's say. No, fuck that. 60% of humans you put in that situation, the same shit would have happened. Okay. Nope. Okay, less than 60, just because of a lot of different factors, but not necessarily moral factors. Okay, right. So then what happens is we vilified this person. We've made them the evil, and we've made it far from us. That it has nothing to do with us. And so meanwhile, we're out here following our instincts, making people's lives miserable, hurting people. And we're innocent because, we didn't kill someone on camera. I mean, how much pain has religion caused people, right? How much pain has been caused by different coronavirus sort of conspiracies? But let me talk about things that are more general, like religion or, all men. As we follow our instincts, we have oppressed women. And when you say,
oh wow, Harvey Weinstein, he was such a sick son of a bitch.
We're all sick sons of bitches. He just happened to have, you put almost any of us in a position of power, we're gonna flirt with a woman who may not have the same power, not because we're thinking about that, but just because she's attractive. And also, yeah, because maybe we're intimidated by someone who has the same level of power. And so there's more sexual attraction between us, and not because we're evil, it's just the way that we are. That's not the end of the story, of course, right? Because we can do something about it. We can take responsibility. We can try our best to monitor and regulate the engine of our behavior, our unconscious. But men, as we follow our instinct, as I would approach a woman in the street and bother her, I would say, hey, and then she was, whatever. I mean, I didn't get rejected that often, but did I? Anyway, sometimes that would be the reaction. I remember one time, and I was just following my instinct. Doesn't make it okay, but it makes it understandable. It makes it almost forgivable. Right, but that's not the point. The point is that when we create this monster that is fucking Louis C.K. or we tried with Aziz Ansari. Damn it, this video cannot be long. What we do is we put all of the guilt over there. Where in fact I guess I'm just repeating myself, but I feel like I keep missing the point. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like we're putting it over there and we're washing we're saying,
that's a monster.
We're making him look so different from us, right? That's what I mean when we're creating a monster. Visualize this really hideous ogre, whatever, monster thing, and we're like,
yeah, that's not us. Now we're gonna put him in jail, but that's not us. What drove him to do that was because that's the kind of guy he is. Not like us, though.
But that's wrong. Every man that exists has inadvertently contributed to patriarchy. The best that we can do is become aware of it and try to modify our behavior in the future. Or at least just, even if we can't modify our behavior because it's not really us in charge of our behavior in general, but what we can do is we can catch ourselves. and we can adjust their behavior. We can make corrections. We can make it up to people. We can put systems in place to make it more difficult for our instincts to hurt people. We can put systems in place to repair the damage, to counterbalance that. You know, whenever a gender or any kind of a group is in power, of course their instincts are going to be to maintain that power, and also even just to maintain the status quo. Right? We have no instinct to say, hey, let me sacrifice my status to bring up the status of another group of people, especially one that, like, basically of another tribe. Let me sacrifice my tribe for another tribe. There's no way we could have evolved to have that instinct. But what we can do is we can say, all right, look, we live in the US, we are the group in power, whether it's men or white people or straight people, whatever. And because we know that we have these instincts, we need to now consciously put certain things in place to support other people, because reasonably we know that that is the moral thing to do. When I was talking to some people about this today, I could see, and she might even be watching this. She's great. When we were talking about this, she said that I could see that I was losing her when I mentioned Harvey Weinstein, because, of course, you know, her instinct is going,
monster, needs to be punished. Are you defending him?
Of course, I'm not defending him. I'm saying that we're seeing things all wrong, and we're reacting incorrectly. The guy that I was talking to, he made a good point, which I think is wrong, but it was he said
But isn't it a good idea to punish those people who follow their instincts more easily, to discourage following your instincts too easily?
If we knew that that's what we were actually doing, and if we were aware of that, yeah, okay, that would be cool. If people could go to jail for not keeping their instincts in check, for instance, and I've mentioned this before, that, you know, how slander, like, if you even say to a coworker,
Oh yeah, that guy's a real asshole.
and, like, you just have not considered the evidence, I don't know how this would be measured or whatever, that should be punishable. It should be punishable to express an opinion that you have not taken responsibility for. And by taking responsibility for, I mean understanding how you got to that opinion, understanding what the alternatives are, etc. So yeah, if it were, like, understood, if we were all like,
Hey, yeah, Chauvin, he followed his instincts, and we can't do that.
then yes, but nobody's talking about that he was just being a natural human being, one, and his system two didn't, sort of monitor and regulate his system one. And again, I tried to make it sound a teeny bit more complicated to make it sound even more absurd that people would say this. But even if I replace those words with conscious, unconscious, the most basic terms for the matter, people are not saying that. People are saying
He's a monster, he's racist,
and all this stuff, right? And when I say he's racist, I mean racist in the monster sense, not in this sense that, in fact, we are all racist, because in that sense he is, of course, racist. But racist in the monster who hates blacks and wants to kill them or whatever. And it's crazy that we haven't understood that, yeah, obviously there are literal white supremacists in the police force, but it's crazy that we haven't realized that, okay, but not all these cops that are, like, harassing and hurting black people, they're not all card-carrying members of the KKK, right? And the point is that those cops are not going to question themselves when we act like Chauvin's a monster, because those cops aren't monsters, because Chauvin's probably confused as fuck.
How did this happen? I'm not a monster. What is going on?
Which brings me back to me. I think I almost got to the point and I glossed over it that I was trying to get to earlier, the essence of it, but whatever, I think you understand. So when you're accused of racist, it shouldn't be,
Oh no.
blah, blah, blah. It should be,
Oh shit. Did I do something that inadvertently, based on your race, did I base my action inadvertently on your race? Did my unconscious tell me to do this thing, and it was unfairly taking into consideration your race, and I didn't realize that that's what it was doing, and then I affected that action?
that's how you should respond. And so, of course, you don't need to be sick, you don't need to be upset about it. You say,
Oh, this beast inside me, son of a bitch, is that what you think he did? Oh man, I gotta pay more attention. And I gotta put systems in place, and I gotta try to make it up to
do
you.
whatever. You feel me? So if there was a part of me that was taking advantage, that wanted to take advantage of Zoe, and that was suggesting actions to me with that goal in mind, and I wasn't aware, because I wanted her to be happy. That is true, and so that's why, because I even and I can't believe it took me this long. I've known about the unconscious and conscious for probably 10, well, at least 7 years. So it's crazy that it took me this long to realize, and I've been able to apply it to other people, and in criminal justice and stuff. But it was just stupid. I just couldn't realize about myself that the question of responsibility, that just because my unconscious is producing these actions and it has sort of with a goal in mind, or it's following a programming that end result, and predictably so, its predictable end result is pain for another person. Okay, that doesn't make me a monster. It makes me a monster if I endorse that, even if I allow it while being aware that it's happening, which was not the case. So no, it's just, oh, okay, now I've learned this thing about this beast. You're able to distinguish between because that's your morality, value, your whatever, your self, and this unconscious thing that evolved long before you did. Well, not really. Obviously, it was evolving simultaneously. It was continuing to evolve as the conscious and the cortex were evolving, but whatever. Fuck! I had something really important to say. Right, because it was really scary. Like, holy shit, am I some kind of a sociopath that, and I'm just constantly lying to myself? And I thought I was just like this little bitty thing in my mind. I was powerless to this sociopathic heiress, I guess, Frances, whatever. Oh gosh, I haven't said that name in so long. Oh, that was weird. And that was terrifying. That's why I wanted to die when she said that I had emotionally abused her, and that's why I was cutting and all this stuff. But no, how silly. How silly. I have a power. I'm the boss in this brain. Well, I mean, I have the power to be, and I need to try to be. And that's what you need to do too. So I don't need to die. I just need to, keep my actions in check. Now, all of that said, I did not emotionally abuse Zoe, and because I think emotional abuse absolutely has to involve consent. I mean, intent. Secondly, I mean, if there were I did everything right. I mean, whether my unconscious was sort of playing a game, I don't know, but and I didn't, sort of regulate that. But so not simultaneously was I being moral, but like if my unconscious did something, and actually it was never Zoe that said I was hurting her. It was never Zoe that said I was hurting her. Like, she would sometimes be upset that I didn't love her, but she'd never, I don't think, did she ever say that I was hurting her? No, if she ever said that, no, one time I think she said that, and I said that, okay, then let's stop talking for 3 weeks, we'll just, oh yeah, because I said 3 weeks because she said she didn't want to stop talking, so I said, let's just take 3 weeks. Yeah, no, I think I did everything right, but, I mean everything right consciously, but what I should have done is consciously been making sure that my unconscious, but look, I don't think that was ever my intention on any level, so I don't think but the important thing here in this video is that I'm able to acknowledge the possibility without feeling sick, because I know that I have the power to do something about it. I can better supervise my unconscious, or I can put systems in place, or I can, I was constantly communicating with her. But in general, I mean, in these situations, so if you're a cop, for instance, in fact, if you are a cop and you're watching this, know that Chauvin is not a monster. You are Chauvin, I am Chauvin, we're all Chauvin. And so you have to be careful that, because you're going to find yourself in a situation without hating black people, without wanting to hurt someone, you're going to find yourself in a situation where your body tells you, where you're unconscious, where your heart tells you, this is what you should do, and it's going to be wrong. Because your unconscious is not a reasonable thing. And you have to watch out that, especially if you're interacting with someone lower income or a minority or anything that your background might have prejudiced you against, you know, or your genetics. You just have to be extra careful. You have to err on the side of caution. And you just have to be just really not trust yourself. You have to have a partner that you talk to. You got to call it in, whatever. Just can't, you shouldn't, and I know it's hard, right?
No, I have to trust myself in that moment.
I get it. But no, you don't have to freeze with doubt. Absolutely, you can just very decisively remove yourself from the situation. You can very decisively not shoot someone. You can very decisively not hold someone down for 8 minutes. Right? I mean, I'm pulling your chain a little bit, but you understand, right? Thank you, officer. Good night, everybody. Oh, right, and then you call someone, you talk it out with someone, whatever, or you let the fucking guy get away, and you err on the side of caution because it is a human being, and he wasn't taking another life, so you let him get away, because you don't know, because you might end up killing him when you shouldn't, and it's a lot worse than a guy who, what did Eric Garner do? He was selling cigarettes or something. It's a lot worse than him dying. I mean, a lot better than him dying. No, his death is a lot worse than the cigarette selling. I think that's how the sentence was supposed to end. Bye. Because I don't want to hurt people. I'd rather peace out than continue to cause people on this earth pain.